Oh my god, Tyrese Haliburton is performing crazy in this in-season tournament. He's the next point god. LeBron is the greatest 39-year-old human being I've ever seen. My glorious sweet king. And Chet clutched up against the Warriors yet again. There's so much to talk about for the NBA this week, so let's get into it. Welcome back to another installment of Basketball This Week, or BTW for short. A series in which I recap highlight moments from the NBA throughout the week, as well as the drama breaking surrounding the league. So without further ado, let's get into Monday's games for the week. Starting with Monday, December 4th, the in-season tournament group stage has wrapped up. So there's only 2 games today, and that was the quarterfinals of the NBA's in-season tournament, right before they go to Vegas. The first game of the night was an Eastern Conference matchup between the Celtics and the Pacers, and let me tell you, this was a great game, and I was only able to catch the end of it, unfortunately. This in-season tournament game was actually the Pacers' first nationally televised game this whole season, which is a sign of damn disrespect to Tyrese Haliburton and the rest of that Pacers roster. But to get into the actual game, it was very close, as the score was tied 105 to 105 with a minute 36 left, with the ball in Tyrese Haliburton's hands. And you knew he had to make something happen. And make something happen he did, as off a screen he gets a matchup with Jaylen Brown at the top of the 3-point line and hits this 4-point play, which ended up basically deciding this whole game. Hey man, he was being for real when he said he was tired of being a loser. There's a reason why ever since his rookie year, Tyrese has been my favorite player in the league. Anyways, let me get off my knees and actually move on to the rest of this game. Tyrese Haliburton nails the free throw, and then the Celtics come up short. Going back down the other end, Tyrese Haliburton gets an out of bounds play in which he's getting MVP chants from the crowd in Indiana. So he inbounds the ball perfectly to Buddy Hield at the 3-point line. They hit the dagger 3, and that about wraps up the game. The game ends with a final score of 122 to 112, in which Tyrese Haliburton had his first career triple-double after a 26, 13, and 10 game. Moving on to the next game of the night, we had the Pelicans and the Kings, in which the Sacramento Kings hosted. And I really don't want to talk about this game, but I guess I have to. Both teams came out to a strong first quarter, scoring 35 plus points in the first. De'Aaron Fox was struggling from the field tonight, even though the box score is going to say he ended up with 30, so Brandon Ingram took advantage and also dropped a 30-point game, which led the Pelicans to a win. Following that 127-117 win, I think it's time I apologize. I've been a big hater of the in-season tournament ever since it was announced, and I really wasn't familiar with their game, as all of these games have been really competitive and just bring a great atmosphere to early season basketball, which was very needed. And I hate to say it, but I'm actually sad my Kings got knocked out of contention for this Mickey Mouse Larry O'Brien. Following that, let's move on to Tuesday. Moving on to Tuesday's games, it was also an in-season tournament day, so we only had 2 games for today. The first one being the New York Knicks versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And this game was interesting because Julius Randle actually went out there to perform tonight. He was actually flawless in the first half, if I remember correctly. Unfortunately, it didn't matter because they got blown out in the second half by like a disgusting amount, and there really wasn't much to talk about for this game. The same though cannot be said for the next game of the night, being the Los Angeles Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. This game in its entirety was a really fun one, as it was back and forth and overall just a close and exciting game all the way through because it was a LeBron and KD matchup, which we don't get to see often. But with about 20 seconds left in the game, Austin Reeves had the ball in his hands, up 1, and he steps back and hits this clutch 3 to put the Lakers up by 4 with about 16 seconds left on the clock. The Suns then call a timeout, and the ball gets inbounded to KD, in which he takes the ball to the rim and hits this nice acrobatic layup to put the Suns only down by 2. With about 11 seconds left on the clock, the Suns had to put pressure on the ball, so they full court press and decided to get a steal off the inbound and just pressure the ball handler once the ball got inbounded. And Austin Reeves was the one who the ball got inbounded to. So they pressured him and actually forced a loose ball, but then a whistle gets called, and many thought that Austin Reeves got fouled. But then it was revealed that it was actually a timeout that got called from LeBron. And you know, I don't think I have 20/20 vision or nothing, but the ball is on the goddamn floor while LeBron is signaling for a timeout. And the worst part is that the ref is looking at directly both LeBron and the basketball. How did he not see this? He must be more in love with LeBron than I am to be staring at this man so hard that he can see the basketball which he is supposed to be paying attention to in the background. The Lakers then go on to win the game after Austin Reeves wins it for them and then almost fumbles it directly after. Austin Reeves, you're on fraud watch, buddy. Anyways, after those 2 exciting nights of in-season tournament play, here are the teams that are left within the tournament to go to Vegas. And that now brings us to Wednesday, which is actually a normal NBA day. For Wednesday, there's a lot more NBA games since, yeah, it was a normal day. The first game of the night was the Cavaliers versus the Orlando Magic, in which the Orlando Magic actually lost. They've been on a crazy run, but the Cavaliers finally put a stop to it after Donovan Mitchell dropped 35, 7, and 6. Spider Mitchell is that guy. Now the Cavaliers are doing great. I honestly expected them to do better. I thought they were going to be a great regular season team, but they've been above average so far. They've definitely been a good team, but I'm ready for them to take the next step and really just dominate this regular season like I think a lot of people thought they would. Granted, they have been dealing with injuries here and there. Following that, we had the 76ers versus the Washington Wizards, in which they actually had a really close game. which is surprising because the Wizards have been, awful this season. But Joel Embiid locked in and decided he wasn't going to lose to this sorry-ass franchise and dropped 50, 13, and 7. For the next game of the night, honestly, unless you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan or Detroit Pistons fan, you probably didn't watch this game because it was a battle of a whole lot of nothing, as the Memphis Grizzlies were still without Ja and suck, and the Detroit Pistons just suck in general. But I watched this game. Why? I might have had a parlay on it, but that doesn't matter. For all y'all know, I watched it for the love of the damn game. And then to talk about the actual game, it was a good game until the fourth quarter. The Memphis Grizzlies started to blow them out, and the highlight of this game was Desmond Bane going absolutely crazy. He's been going crazy this whole season, but tonight was one of his best performances as he dropped 49, 8, and 6. Still surprised he has this crazy of a build, but still performs. Now for the next game of the night, we had the Timberwolves versus San Antonio Spurs, in which we all kind of knew it was going to happen, considering the Timberwolves are actually great this season. They won the game 102-94, in which Rudy Gobert had himself a game, ending the night with 16 points and 20 rebounds. For the next game of the night, we had the Nets and the Atlanta Hawks, in which the Nets beat them 114-113, and this game went down to the wire. With 20 seconds left on the clock, the ball was in Trae Young's hands, down 2 against the net, and he hits this crazy step back 3 to put them up by 1 with about 15 seconds to go. Down 1 with about 7 seconds to go, the ball is in Mikal Bridges' hands. He dribbles down and then hits this leaning mid-range to put the Nets up by 1 and hits the game winner. Mikal Bridges has been on a roll this season and finishes the night with 32, 6, and 5. Moving on, we had the Heat and the Raptors, in which the Heat beat them 112-103, and a bunch of role players stepped up for the Heat as Caleb Martin had 24 and 12, Orlando Robinson had 15 and 12, and Duncan Robinson had 21 and 7 on the night. At this point, I'm convinced Eric Spoelstra can walk into any 24-hour fitness basketball court and just pick a random person and turn them into an NBA player overnight. Then we had two teams of all time duel it out, as the Chicago Bulls faced the Charlotte Hornets, and they beat them 111-100. Following that, we had the Houston Rockets play the Oklahoma City Thunder, in which they beat them 110-101. After that, we had an absolutely disgusting game in which the Dallas Mavericks beat the Utah Jazz by 50 points. This game was over at halftime, and another thing that happened at halftime was Luka Doncic had a whole triple-double in one half. He broke NBA history. He was the first player to do that. And I think you gotta have Luka at the top of your MVP radar at this point, because oh my god, that's insane. For the second to last game of the night, we had the Denver Nuggets versus the Clippers, in which Jokic kind of sold the game as he went 9 for 32 from the field. But guess what he still had? A triple-double. This man could have the worst game of his career and somehow still record a triple-double at the end of it, which makes you reflect. Was it really even a bad game? Anyways, the final score for this game was 111-102. For our final game of the night, we had the Warriors versus the Trailblazers, in which it was a very close game. Should it have been a close game? I don't know, I'll let Warriors fans decide that. But let's talk about the ending. With a score 104-105, the Warriors were up 1 with the ball in Curry's hands, and he hits this clutch dagger 3 to win them the game. Curry ended the night with 31 and 5, and the Warriors won 110-106, which concludes Wednesday's night of basketball. Now for Thursday, we got to go back to the in-season tournament. For Thursday in the NBA, we had two in-season tournament games being the semifinals. The first one being the Pacers and Bucks. Going into this game, it was quite clear who the underdogs were, and that's of course the Indiana Pacers. But they decided to lock in, and they made this game come down to the absolute wire yet again in the in-season tournament. With 55 seconds left to go in the game, the Pacers were up 5 with the ball in Tyrese Haliburton's hands. He dribbles out the clock a little bit and nails this 3 from hella far out to seal the win, and overall it's just a dagger 3, and he hits the Dame time celebration. I love Tyrese Haliburton, man. This Pacers team is a lot like the Kings from last year, as they have the highest pace in the NBA and they're a very great 3-point shooting team, and it's all led by Tyrese Haliburton at the helm, who is one of the best passers, if not the best passer in the game right now, as he had 27, 15, and 7, and mind you that 15 assists was with 0 turnovers. The Pacers are making a case for one of my favorite teams out east right now, and I think they are for a lot of people, and I think a lot of it has to do with Tyrese Haliburton being generationally good of a passer, along with his crazy efficiency in general. Like, these splits are insane. Moving on to the next game, it was not exciting at all, as the Lakers absolutely dominated the Pelicans. In this game, you're probably wondering what Zion Williamson did, and I'll tell you. He dropped 13 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. Yeah, I hate being a hater, but like, it really makes me mad that Zion Williamson keeps showing these glimpses of being honestly one of the best players in the league. Like, he's dropping 30 points on good days with 70% from the field. Like, his efficiency is crazy, and he shows glimpses of being one of the best players in the league, but he never goes anywhere with it. So when news dropped after this game that the Pelicans were mad at his dieting and his weight gain, it was disappointing, very disappointing. Moving on to something positive though, LeBron James continues to show that age does not matter to him, and not in a Josh Giddey way, as he is almost 39 years old and dropped 30 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds in 23 minutes, leading the Lakers to a 133-89 win against the Pelicans. My muse, my glorious sweet king, Snookums bear, LeBron James. He's too good, man. This sets up the finals for the NBA in-season tournament, being the Los Angeles Lakers and the Indiana Pacers, and I can't wait to see who wins. With all that being said, let's move on to Friday's game so we can finally talk about the finale of the in-season tournament on Saturday. For the first game of the night, we had the Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons, and the Orlando Magic were way better than Detroit, as many of y'all know, because Detroit just finished doing no-win November, and they're looking to move forward to don't-win December, as they lost by 32 points. This team, and damn near the franchise, is cooked. Moving on to the next game of the night, we had the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks, in which the 76ers won the game by dominating the fourth quarter, and they won with a final score of 125-114, with Joel Embiid having himself a game, 38 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 assists, and he might as well go back-to-back for MVP. Kelly Oubre also played tonight, which was the first game since having his tragic accident. For the next game of the night, we had the Charlotte Hornets and the Toronto Raptors, in which the Raptors lost by 3 points with a final score of 119-116. Despite that loss, Scottie Barnes had a 30-point triple-double, and it's got me really excited for the future of this team. Following that, we had the Brooklyn Nets absolutely destroying the Washington Wizards, and this isn't surprising at all, so we're going to skim over this. They won 124-97, with Mikal Bridges being the leading scorer for the team. Ooh, that was a lot. The next game of the night was the Celtics versus the Knicks, in which the Celtics won 133-123, and Derek White dropped a 30-piece. The most exciting game of the night by far was this game between the Thunder and the Warriors, in which it was tied 115-115 with 20 seconds to go. Curry gets the ball in the corner, and he sizes up, starts dribbling, and hits this step-back 3, which should have been the game winner, over Lou Dort. Coming down the other end, Shea gets fouled, which means it's going to be a sideline out-of-bounds play. And the ball gets inbounded to Chet Holmgren, and Draymond, who tries to intercept the ball at first, then fouls Chet on the three-point attempt. Being up 3, that is the one thing you don't do. Chet then proceeds to hit all free throws, and the Thunder went on to win the game in OT. Man, it's gotta suck to be a Warriors fan right now. Getting away from the negativity though, Shea had himself a performance with 38, 5, and 5. On the next game of the night, the Cleveland Cavaliers continued to improve as they beat the Heat 111-99, led by Donovan Mitchell's 27, 13, and 6 game. For the next game of the night, the Timberwolves blew out the Grizzlies 127-103, and Rudy Gobert had himself another 16 and 20 game. The Bulls beat the San Antonio Spurs 121-112, and I really need Patrick Williams to go to the Kings. And speaking of the Kings, that was the next game of the night as they beat the Phoenix Suns 114-106, led by 23 fourth quarter points by De'Aaron Fox, and he ended the night with 34, 7, and 4. Although the Suns were without KD and Bradley Beal, but hey, who cares? A win is a win. Now let me blitz through his last 3 games. The Houston Rockets beat the Denver Nuggets 114-106, due in part to another bad Jokic performance. The Clippers beat the Jazz 117-103, due in part to a 41-point performance from Kawhi Leonard. And finally, the Dallas Mavericks beat the Portland Trail Blazers 125-112 off of the heels of a 32, 10, and 6 performance from Luka Doncic. Finally, we can get on to the in-season tournament finals, the Pacers and the Lakers. For the finale of the in-season tournament, we had the Indiana Pacers and the Los Angeles Lakers, and this game was pretty good. I'm not going to say it's the craziest game of all time or nothing, but it was definitely a good one, and Anthony Davis absolutely went off, dropping 41 and 20. Every minute in this game, Anthony Davis was absolutely hounding whatever center that the Pacers put on the floor, eventually leading to Miles Turner fouling out. It was so weird to see in a game that's supposed to be so dominated by a three-point shot that the Lakers only made 1 to 2 three-pointers in the whole game, I believe. Fact checking it right now, and it looks like Taurean Prince was the only one on the Lakers that made a 3 the whole game, yet they still won 123-109. Honestly, I really want the Pacers to win this game just because I love Tyrese, but I'm not mad that the Lakers won it. It was a good game overall, and Tyrese Haliburton still got his with 20 and 11. And to be honest, watching the game, I do not remember him doing that well. I remember him getting hounded by Vanderbilt and every other lengthy wing that they put on him during the game. But to sum up, I think it's time I give the well-deserved apology to Adam Silver for making this in-season tournament. And I think we all do. I remember every time this was brought up as a suggestion on the meeting boards for the NBA, everyone was like, yeah, scrap that shit, little bro. That shit is going to be ass. But it brought a competitive environment, and overall, this in-season tournament has been great, and I'm excited to see it next year. Congratulations to the Lakers for winning the in-season tournament, and congratulations to my glorious, sweet, Snookums, succulent, voluptuous king, LeBron James, for winning the first ever in-season tournament MVP. Now, with all of that being said, let's move on to Sunday's games. Just kidding, there are no games on Sunday. But what I do have to say is subscribe if you actually mess with the content, because I'm trying to hit 50K before the new year. For the rest of December, I'm going to be posting every Monday with the basketball this week video, and then Friday with a random video on whatever topic I decide. Anyways, with all of that being said, I hope everyone listening has a great rest of their days and continues to prosper. Y'all got this.